Good morning, family and friends. Good morning. Have a word for you today. My word, my friend, is things change when you change. Yes, things change when you change. Things get better when you get better. How many of you believe that there's room for you to get better? How many of you believe that there's room for you to grow? If I was to go to your doctor with you and you ask your doctor, is there room for you to improve in your health? What do you think your doctor would say? I'm quite sure your doctor would say yes. There's certain things that you can do to improve your health, certain things that you can do so that you can feel better, look better, and be better. If I was to go with you to the gym and ask your fitness trainer, is there anything that you can do to be better? I'm quite sure your fitness trainer would be like, yes. There's certain things that they can do in order for them to be better. Certain exercises they can do. Certain foods they can stay away from. Certain foods that they can eat in order for them to feel better, look better, think better, and be better. If I was to ask your spouse about your relationship and ask them, is there room for you to be better in your relationship? I'm quite sure that your spouse would say, and even you would say, yes, there's room for our relationship to grow. There's room for our relationship to be better. There's room for me to be better. There's room for her or him to be better. Because there's always room for growth. If I was to go to your job and ask your employer, your supervisor, is it room for you to be better? Can you be better at what you do? Can you improve on your job and can you improve in your career? I'm quite sure that they will say yes, that there's still room for them to grow, still room for them to get better, still room for them to be better. So what is my point? My point, my friend, is that there's always room for growth. There's always room for us to get better. And if we want things in our life to be better, then we must challenge ourselves to do better. We must challenge ourselves to be better. Because nothing changes until we change. Things doesn't just change on its own. It doesn't just change, and things in our life doesn't just get better just because we want it to get better. But things get better when we make a choice for it to get better. And a lot of times we procrastinate a lot on some of the choices that we need to make in order for us to have a better life. And some of the procrastination, it comes for different reasons. Some mainly come from fear and doubt. We don't believe that we can do certain things. We doubt ourselves about some of the barriers that we may have and some of the inadequacies that we may have, and we allow those things to limit us. And also another thing that keeps us from being better is that we don't understand that we have choices. Yes, we have choices. A lot of people, they limit themselves because they don't understand that they have more choices than the ones that they've been focusing on. And I always say that in order for you to make changes, you got to start making choices. And some of the choices that you have to make, it may not necessarily be the choices that you want to make, and they may not even be comfortable when making those choices. However, they are choices that needs to be made if you're going to get the changes and the results, that you're looking for. So I want you to challenge yourself today. And I want you to ask yourself, what is it that I can do in my physical life, my spiritual life, my emotional life, my relationship, my job, my career? What is one thing you can do? What is one choice that you can make today that's going to make things better for you? I made a choice to exercise today. Right now, I'm in my office and I'm on my walking pad and I'm walking and being conscious that as it pertains to my physical health, that there is room for growth, and that I can get better. I made a choice this morning to get up and get on my prayer line, with other like-minded people, and we prayed for you and we prayed for our nation and prayed for people in general, people who were sick, and we just prayed. And we made a choice, to be intentional, to be deliberate, to get up in the morning and start our day with prayer, start our day with God. Because that's an area that we all can get better in. None of us have spiritually arrived. There's always room for growth. Mentally, I'll do some reading, I'll do some studying. Yes, because that's going to help me to get better. Because I know that you only get out what you put in. If you're not putting anything in, then you can't expect to get anything out. Many of us, we have good intentions. And one thing about good intentions, my friend, never show up. If I just had good intentions to work out today, but I wasn't intentional, then I wouldn't be on this walking pad right now. I wouldn't be committed. I wouldn't be dedicated. And I wouldn't get the results that I'm looking for. Because once again, just having good intentions, my friend, it don't show up. And how many of you are good intentional people? Every time it's time for you to take action, every time it's time for you to put your best foot forward and to act on what you know you need to do, you just have good intentions. I wanted to do it. I meant to do it. And then there's always a but. Always something to cancel out the reason why you didn't do it. You can't show me one person who is successful at doing anything who just had good intentions. But everyone that is successful in life are those, my friend, who were intentional. They were deliberate about enrolling back in school. They were deliberate about going to the gym. They were deliberate about watching what they eat. They were deliberate about reading the book. They didn't feel like reading it, but they knew that the book was going to educate them and inspire them and motivate them and give them the information that they need in order for them to accomplish what they were trying to accomplish in life. Even in your relationships, you can't just have good intentions. You have to be intentional about letting people know that you love them. Show them that you love them. You can't just say, well, I had good intentions that I was going to tell you that I love you, but you never tell them. Or I was going to show you that I love you, but you never show them. Because it doesn't show up and it doesn't produce the desired results. So I want you to think about, the different areas of your life this morning. Take a pause moment, reevaluate some things and ask yourself, what is it that I need to be intentional about today? What areas do I feel that I need to get better in? One of the areas is learning to be more intentional instead of you just having good intentions. How can you be more intentional? How can you be more deliberate so you can get the results that you need? Well, one thing I would suggest is that you write it down. Yes, write it down. The night before, write down everything that you have a desire to do, everything that you feel that you have to do, that you want to do. Write it down the night before so that when you get up in the morning, you can start your day off not trying to figure out what you want to do, but start your day off doing what you already know that you have to do. So write it down the night before. And as the day begins, you already know you have a list that you can mark off. Okay? I got to pray. I got to get my reading in. I got to make my phone calls. I got to eat my breakfast. I have to get my studying in. I have to go to the gym. I have to go for a walk. Whatever it is that you know that you need to do so that you can reach your dreams. Because your dreams, my friend, it does matter. And you can't afford to give up on your dreams. You can't afford to put your dreams, in somebody else's hands. Because listen, they working on their dreams. So they don't really have time to help you work on yours. So you have to get up. Get up. Get out the house. Get up, put your clothes on. Stop being lazy and start being intentional. Start being deliberate. Listen, push your feelings to the side because we're not committed to our feelings, right? Because one thing about our feelings, they're going to change just like the weather. So our commitment is not to our feelings, but our commitment is to our commitment. But do you have a commitment? What are you committed to? Because without commitment, my friend, nothing happens. I mean, absolutely nothing. Nothing happens until you commit yourself. And one thing also about a commitment, you have to have a strong why. What is your reasons for doing it? What is your strong why? The reason that I'm on this treadmill and I'm walking is because I have a strong why. And that why is I want to live. Yes, I want to have longevity. Another reason is because I suffered from depression, suffered from anxiety, and exercise, it helps to keep stress off of me. It helps to keep my mind clear. It helps me to focus more. So that's a why for me. That's a strong why. That's a compelling reason, that pushes me to do some of the things that I may not feel like doing. But my why lets me know this is what I have to do in order for me to get the results that I'm looking for. Some of you also struggle with stress and depression, and you got a lot of weight on you. And I'm not talking about physical weight. I'm just talking about mental weight. A lot of pressures from life. And exercise, my friend, will help you to relieve that. It's going to help you to get some of that pressure off your mind, get some of that tension out your shoulders, out your neck, out your back, and help you to get back in the game. If you don't have a right mind, you're not going to be able to do nothing. You can't do nothing because as a man thinketh, so is he. So your mind got to be clear first. Your mind got to be right first. So do what you need to do to get your mind back right so that you can get your life back right. But it starts with this. You have to get this together first. You're not losing your mind, my friend. You're just losing focus. And a lot of time, a lack of focus comes from a lack of discipline. Not being disciplined and doing the things that we have to do. See, when you do the things that you have to do, you can do the things that you want to do. But if you don't do the things that you have to do, then you're not going to be able to do what you want to do. So what do you want to do, with your life? What is you want to do with your dreams? And when you know what you want to do, then you know what you have to do. So always start with the end in mind. Start with the end in mind. Where is it that I want to go? What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? How much money do I need, to live from month to month? Whatever that is, start with the end in mind. And then once you know what you need, what you need to accomplish, and then you can figure out, okay, what I need to do to get that. I might need to get another job. I might need to go back to school. Yes, I might need to go back to school and get a higher education to get more information so that I can get a better job, a better paying job, or get information to help me start my own business. But start with the end in mind. What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? And whatever that goal is, my friend, and then you scale back, and then you start writing down your plan. Okay, I need to do this. Start with the things that you can do. Oftentimes we focus so much on, what we can't do. Focus on our weaknesses, focusing on what we don't have. Listen, you have more than you think you have. You have more options and choices than you think you have. So start with what you have. Start with your strengths. Work with what you got, my friend, because we all have something to work with. Do what you can do. Yes, do what you can do. And then start learning what else do you need to do. And that's one of the reasons why I went back to school. And I procrastinated for a while. After being out of school for a while, there was some fears there. I was just feeling like I don't know if I'm ready to take on all these challenges, and I got all these classes. I started looking at how much time I had to go, how many more years I had to go, and it dawned on me that regardless of how much time it was going to take, and if it took 2 years or 3 years for me to complete my bachelor's degree, what I realized? That in 3 years, I was still going to be 3 years older. So I was going to be 3 years older anyway. So I decided that if I'm going to be 3 years older anyway, if I live to see 3 more years, I would rather be 3 years older with my degree than 3 years older without my degree. So don't get discouraged about time and about your age and things like that. Listen, do what you have to do. Don't worry about time. Let time take care of itself, because you're going to be 2 years older anyway. If you go back to get a 4-year degree, you're going to be 4 years older in 4 years anyway, whether you do it or you don't. So in 4 more years, the worst thing that you want to live with is the regrets. Yes, you don't want to live with the regrets of saying like, man, if I would have started in 2025, I could have been done right now. If I would have started, I could have been walking across that stage right now. If I would have started, I could have probably had my own business right now. If I would have started, I could have bought me a house right now. No, you don't want to live with that. You want to come to the end of 29 and say, you know what? I'm glad I went back to school. I'm glad I got started, because look where I'm at now. And then I can go further. I can go further now because I know what's in me. I know what I can do. So don't keep selling yourself short. Telling yourself, I can't do this, I can't do that. Because one thing for certain and two for sure, if you say you can't, then you won't. Yes, my friend. If you say you can't do it, then you won't do it. Because there's life and death in the power of your tongue. Stop talking yourself out of it. Sometimes our worst enemy is the enemy. We are our worst enemy. It ain't our friends. It ain't people around us. It's the man that's in us. It's the fear that's in us. It's the doubt that's in us. And you know what I always believe? I believe that if somebody else can do it, why can't I do it? I know I'm not the dumbest person in the world. So I know there are other people who may not be as smart as I am, but they was intentional. They was deliberate. They was fearless. And they got it done. So you can do it too, my friend, because everything that you're trying to do, I guarantee you, it's already been done. So you're not looking to do something that's impossible. Everything that you want to do, somebody already done it. So that should be encouraging to you. I remember when I was walking across the stage, when I was graduating, there was a gentleman, I believe he was like 80 years old. 80 years old, and he was getting his master's degree. I mean, that was impressive. I mean, that really says something to me. And what it said, my friend, is that when it comes down to your dreams, it has nothing to do with age. When it comes down to knowing your why, for why you want to do it, because people do things for different reasons. He may not be going to get his master's degree because he's looking to go work for somebody, but he probably was getting his master's degree because it was something that he always wanted to do. Probably was something that he started that he didn't finish, and he had a void in his life. He was feeling incomplete because it was something that he really wanted to do, something that he may have wanted to give to his grandkids or something like that. But whatever his why was, it was strong enough for him to go back to school at 80 years old and complete his master's degree. So people are doing it every day. It doesn't matter where you at, my friend. It doesn't matter where you start. What matters is that you get started. It's a journey to 1,000 miles. Begin with one step. Just one. That journey, my friend, it begins with one step. And one thing about that step, that first step, is always the hardest one. It's always the hardest one. Just think about, when you look to go outside and go for a walk and you want to go for a jog, that first step is always the hardest step. But once, my friend, you take that first step, you out there now. I mean, you out there. It's like you jumping into some water, right? It's like if you jumping into some water and you really not a heck of a swimmer, but once somebody push you in, you have two choices. Either you gonna what? You gonna swim or you gonna drown. And I don't think you want to drown. So you're gonna be forced to swim. Jump, my friend, and grow your wings down. Yes, jump and grow your wings down. You might not think that you can soar. You may not think that you can fly, but let somebody push you off a cliff and watch what begin to happen. Sometimes you got to jump off that cliff, my friend. You got to jump. You got to jump. And when I mean jump, I'm talking about commitment. That's what it means to jump. It means to commit yourself. Tell somebody, you know what? I'm going to do it. Call somebody and say, you know what? Man, remember I've been telling you about that book that I was going to write? Remember I was telling you about that business? I was going to start that nonprofit I was going to start. Remember I was telling you about the ministry that I felt God was calling me to? Yeah, remember I was telling you about that woman that I really love, and I said I was going to marry her or marry him? Yeah, remember them dreams that I was telling you about? I'm going to do it, my friend. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go in and take a few little dollars that I have, and I'm going to bet on me for a chance. Yes, you've been betting on everybody else. You've been going to work betting on everybody else. You've been looking at the sports, betting on everybody else, betting on LeBron James and all these different players, and betting on how good they is and betting on their talent. But what about you? You bet on everybody else's dreams. But at the same time, you talk down on your own dreams. You talk down on your own goals and ambitions. It's time to bet on you, my friend. Yes, bet on you. Because I know you can win. I know you can win. You just have to know it. You just have to believe it. And how do you win? By taking that first step. That's how you win. Overcoming the fears, overcoming your doubts. And when you have some failures, yes, you're going to have some failures. Do you know when I was in college, I failed the class? Even though at the time I was sick at the time, but nonetheless, I failed the class. And I had to take the class over again. I was devastated. I was devastated. But it taught me a valuable lesson. It taught me a valuable lesson. And one of the lessons it taught me, my friend, is that me failing didn't make me a failure. Yes. The only way I'd have became a failure if I'd have quit. And I didn't do that. So just because you might fail at something, it doesn't make you a failure. You only become a failure, my friend, when you quit, when you give up, when you throw in the towel. Don't throw in the towel. Don't quit. Don't give up. Because failure, my friend, is one of the key ingredients to your success. Failure is only going to make you better, when you get back up. Failure is going to make you better when you examine why you failed, what you did wrong, what you need to stay away from and what you need to do to improve in that particular area. Nobody starts off good. Nobody. It don't make a difference who it is. Nobody starts off great. People are not born great. People are not born that way. People become great over time. People get good because of their disciplines, the things that they do in private. Yes, that's how they become great. And that greatness is shown in public. But what they do in private, that's how they become great. When they discipline themselves, when they decide that they're going to study and study party, when they decide that they're going to, discipline themselves and get the exercise in and get to walk in and get a little bit of reading in, get a little bit of prayer in, and then people start seeing you a year from now, 2 years from now, and when they see you, my friend, they see a whole new person. You be having to reintroduce yourself. They be like, what happened to you? How you lose all that weight? Man, you look good. And, they see you walking across the stage and getting that diploma. They see you publishing that book. They see you promoting your food truck and, your business. They're like, how do you do that? Discipline. While everybody was partying, while everybody was all on social media scrolling, I was behind the scenes working. I was studying. I was reading. I was praying. I was working out. I was disciplining myself. I was in the gym. Everybody, my friend, that is great. It comes as a result of their discipline. How is your discipline? How is your commitment? Because one thing about your discipline, it's going to show up in public. Yes, it's going to show up in public. It's going to show up if you've been training or not. It's going to show up if you've been studying or not. Yeah, it's going to reveal itself. So don't play with your discipline and then come out in public, faking it, because you're going to be exposed for faking it. And you don't want to be a phony. You don't want to be a fake. You want to be the real thing. So put your head in them books. Do what you need to do. Put your head down and go after it. Get after it. Really, really get after it. Because what's at stake here is your life. Yes, what's at stake here is your dreams. What's at stake here is your story. And it's never too late to change your story. It's never too late to change the narrative of your story. I went to prison when I was 19 years old. 19 years old, I was sentenced to 17 and a half years in federal prison. Yes, I made some bad choices in my life, but God has forgiven me. So I made some bad choices and they put me in prison for 17 years. And a lot of people, my friend, they counted me out. When I went to prison, I was a high school dropout. I was a public nuisance. I was all of that. And I didn't think that was really anything good in me, based on the choices that I was making up until that point. But boy, was I wrong. And you might be wrong too, about your life and how you're looking at yourself, based on some of the choices that you made. Because those choices, my friend, they didn't define me. They didn't define the person that I am right now. And it doesn't define who you are right now. They just choices. And one thing about choices, you can always change them. And if you want to change, then you have to make different choices. And that's what I did. I made different choices. And I went from being a high school dropout, got my GED, went to college, and then got my associate's degree, then my bachelor's degree, and I kept going. I just became a certified psychiatric rehabilitation practitioner, still going. I have 4 books that I actually published, but I wrote 7 books in all. I'm still going. I have my own company, Put Me in Coach. We specialize in personal, professional development, leadership training. I'm still going. God has blessed me with a heart, for his people and a ministry. I'm still going. And I'm still getting better. I'm in the process of launching my nonprofit organization. Yes, the Nehemiah Plan. And because I believe that in the African American community, it's time for us to stand and rebuild. And I'm going to be looking for your help to help rebuild our community. Help to rebuild people who were just like me. People who was counted out. People who count themselves out. But it's not too late, my friend, to rewrite your story. I believe in people. I believe in you. And I believe that your dreams, and in fact, matters. Your story, my friend, is not over. This is just one chapter, one of the chapters in your story. You still have more chapters to go. And it's up to you to determine the role that you play in your story. Don't let nobody dictate the role that you play in your story. You don't have to be the victim in your story. This is your book. You don't have to be the victim, my friend. You don't have to be the bad guy. You don't have to be the one that's getting abused or abuser, in this story. You don't have to be the one that go to prison and the one that died from a drug overdose. You don't have to be the one, that remains in an abusive relationship. Yes, you don't have to be the one that live your life with regrets in your story. This is your story. This is your book. Yes, this is your book. So don't allow no one, to be the narrator in your book. They have their own book to write. They have their own role to play. If they want a book that flopped, then let them write their own book. But don't allow them to be the narrator in your book and dictate the character and the role that you play in your story. Because it's your story and you can rewrite it. You can change characters right now. You can switch roles right now and say, you know what? I'm not going to be the villain. I'm not going to be the bad guy. I'm going to be the hero, in this story. This story right here is going to be one of triumph. This is going to be the story, where greatness is going to come out of me. This is going to be the story where I'm going to win and I will not lose. Yes, that's the story that I'm talking about, my friend. I need you to go. I need you to get after it. I need you to be intentional. I need you to do it. I need you to make it happen because there's greatness in you and people need you. Yes, I need you. The community needs you. Your family, they need you, my friend. And if you have breath in your body, and if you can hear what I'm saying right now, what that means is that it's not too late for you to rewrite your story. Be great today, my friend. Get after it. Do it. Be intentional. Yes, get it done. Get it done.